This episode is presented to you by NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. With NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV, you can watch your favorite teams' out-of-market Sunday games, plus watch up to 4 games at once with Multiview. Don't miss the race to the playoffs. NFL Sunday Ticket is now just $39 when bundled with YouTube TV, where you get even more football. Visit youtube.com/Spotify offer to sign up now. Lowest price on YouTube TV with base plan. Rest of 2023 season. Terms and embargoes apply. No cancellations.
This episode is brought to you by Chevrolet. Now's your chance to support a team with real grit. The Chevy ZR2 family of off-road trucks. The first ever Silverado HD ZR2 joins the all-new Colorado ZR2 and the Silverado ZR2 for a commanding lineup of off-road ready trucks, equipped to take on anything this season throws their way. Visit Chevy.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Some things are just better together, like party playlists and Friday nights, campfires and ghost stories, peanut butter and chocolate. And Reese's Cups are the perfect combination of creamy peanut butter and delicious milk chocolate. So, when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Buy Reese's today wherever candy is sold.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
All right, boys, only 10 matches to go. What's going to happen?
10 more. And I've been wondering when we were going to have a day off because we played more games than everyone else. It looks nice that we have a chance to go top of the table here, but I've been wondering when we were going to have a day off.
Those damn games in hand always complicate things.
So, that is why we're bringing on an expert.
What? Everybody looks around. Who? What?
The day has finally come. We're bringing on Chad. Chad Smith is here. Welcome, man. The day is finally here. You're in the mountains, but you're not really in the mountains. It looks good. I like it.
Oh, thanks, guys. I'm good to be back. Ironic that I moved to Missouri and we don't get to do it in person still. So,
well, we're glad to have you. I wanted to talk about the article that you wrote. Vermes just recently laid out a bit of a plan for spending the Busio money. Where's this money going, Chad? Tell us.
well, it's not getting spent now, which I think we all kind of knew, right? The summer window is closed, so there really can't be any outlay of money besides signing like a free agent, somebody that's out of contract, right? So he said he's going to spend it in the winter window, or he alluded to the winter window, and he says, we've heard Peter talk about this before, right? He only wants to bring in moves when they can come through preseason. So this fits that MO. But he laid out some details that I just thought were pretty fascinating, talking about how has this whole shadow team. He's got a shadow team of 18 to 19-year-olds. He's got another one of that fit into the second team. There's all for every position across the board, a little bit older, a little bit younger, people that fit that U22 initiative. It's kind of interesting. It's worth a listen for sure.
A shadow team.
So basically, we all know that Sporting Kansas City runs the 4-3-3 formation. They do it from the first team all the way down through the lowest levels of their academy. We can watch it with Sporting Kansas City too. And then he's got players at every position all around the world that they're kind of targeting as a potential fill-in. That he talked about how conversations are already being had because you can't wait until the window's open, right? The window's not very long. You got to be laying out these plans ahead of time so that you're ready to make a signing when the window does open. That's why often we'll hear the announcements before the window's even open, and then when the window officially opens, the player can get their transfer certificate and come join the team in preseason and kind of be a full participant there. But lots of targets, it sounds like, and just got to decide which one do they want to prioritize over somebody else.
Trader Pete. I mean, shadow teams, that seems pretty crazy, but MLS going to MLS, right?
it screams to me that he's like incredibly organized.
Oh,
I
I
can't even
know.
imagine like a look inside this man's brain and like all the time he spends thinking about this. And a lot of times it feels like there isn't a plan, and it sounds pretty clearly like there is a plan. It's just a matter
Oh
of like
yeah.
convincing people to come to Kansas City.
Yeah, and yes, that's the whole thing right there. Has he earned in my head? Yes, the man has earned the benefit of the doubt on bringing in a player, and like when he does bring in a player, if it's going to work or not. Of course, there have been some that haven't, but what coach isn't going to have that? But are you confident, in the way he'll spend this money? Where are you at on Peter Vermes? We're very Peter Vermes positive this on this show here.
Are we?
I'm a in Peter we trust guy. I mean, I would say he hits more than he misses, right? Even things where it looks like a miss, right? Trading away Ike Opara, I think everybody was so upset. And then,
Mm-hmm.
and sadly, Ike's out of the league. He's dealing with
Yep.
injuries or whatever. It's keeping him away from soccer. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's developed this system and he's finding players that fit it. I feel like they're hitting more than they're missing for sure.
I thought one interesting part of it, Chad, was he does get even more specific. Are we looking for a central defender, a left wing, a left defender? Interesting. He mentioned those three positions.
Yeah, I thought it was odd too that he said left wing because it's like, isn't maybe the best player on the team Daniel Salloi? And maybe before the season, we were all saying this team doesn't have any left wingers. Who's going to play left wing? And secretly down low, he knew Daniel was coming. He broke the curse.
Well, I took that as maybe meaning there's a player like that they have a chance to sign, and he happens to have experience on the left wing. They're going to take a player when they become available, even if it's going to cause like congestion at a certain spot. So I don't know. Maybe that means, he does that. There's a specific player in mind already.
And the specific mention of a number 10 is interesting too, because a lot of people say, 4-3-3 doesn't have a 10, but who knows?
Well, and I think we can look at those eights and see some of the eights are more like tens and some of the eights are more like eights, right? Like Roger, you're never going to pretend that guy's kind of a 10, but like Gotti Ginda, yeah, maybe he's kind of like a 10 a little bit.
Yeah.
And Sporting KC's number 8 is a right back. Let's talk about what's happening now. The real, no more hypothetical. 2-0 over the Chicago Fire after 4-game worrying stretch there. 4 games? Yes, 4 games. Worrying stretch there, but a nice win over. I love beating a 96 team. Not much history in MLS, but let's go taking it back to 96. I like playing the Fire. I like beating the Fire a lot. So that one was good. And
I don't want to be that guy, but didn't the Fire come in 97?
Oh, wait.
yes, they did.
And they won MLS.
Actually, was it 97 or was it 98?
Oh, they're not a true 96er?
No. They're the expansion team that went to MLS Cup.
That's right. Right. Okay, good job. Well done.
That's why you brought me on, right? For history, because clearly I'm the one that knows the history.
But I kept going back to the past during the game of the first game at Children's Mercy Park. 0-0 draw where the Cows scored the goal, and that was it. Thank God it wasn't a repeat of that. But no, the fast start. I mean, finally, right? We get a goal early. We got 2 goals early. It's about time.
The whole season of falling behind early and trying to come back. It's nice to not only score early, but break a record in how fast they scored 2 goals. That's wild. And if you watched my part cut out of the broadcast, it didn't even come in until 4 minutes and something into the game. So it was already 1-0. And I was like, oh, well, I guess they scored.
Yeah. And the new guy scoring too. That was cool.
Yeah, the goal was definitely given to us, that first one, but Jose Maury, yeah, there we go. Sorry, I said it right that time. They added a little more flair to it than we've been doing. Maury, yeah, that's just one of those, you can't score if you don't shoot, but it was definitely a gift from the keeper.
There's a reason Bobby Shuttleworth is bouncing around the league, right?
I love that it was Bobby Shuttlesworth. It just makes me laugh. Like I feel like he's just had so many moments where you can point and laugh at him throughout his career. That might not even be true. It just seems like I laugh at Bobby Shuttlesworth a lot.
I assume it's your biased against goalkeepers, but I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's so true. What have you guys thought of Jose Maury so far?
I would say he, struggled a little bit maybe in that first game. And Peter talked about how he didn't even really want to play him. It was just like he was kind of forced into playing him so quickly because Remy Voltaire had been suspended, and then Roger gets suspended. So you keep being in these back-to-back situations. So it'll be interesting to see, does he play him again on Wednesday, or does he go back to guys that have had more time in the system?
And I'm sorry to the listeners who want to talk more about Jose Maury, but I just can't get over this apparent new player that we have named Voltaire running around on the field.
What's going on with that?
Oh my God. All of a sudden there's a number 54 of Voltaire gets the pass. I'm like standing up, trying to get in close to the TV. I'm like, who is this? Is this a Swope Park Ranger that I don't know? No, we've just decided it's not Remy Walter anymore. It is Remy Voltaire.
No, was this Bucati or who was this?
This is Bucati. Yes, sorry for the listeners. Bob doesn't know. Bob was at the game as a fan, enjoying himself, so he didn't learn about our new player.
Yeah, and I heard Nate talk about it on their podcast, on the radio show, Sporting Kansas City Show, and he talked about how Remy just kind of casually pronounced his name differently, and he asked him, "Oh, is that how you say your name?" He's like, "Oh, it's fine. You just say it however you want." And he kind of like, "No, tell me how you want us to say it so I can say it right." And he, is making a point to. I feel like he's extra emphasizing it, but
he did.
Yeah, I want to get it right. I'm glad the whole game. It just sounded weird to me as I kept hearing him say it, but I'm glad they were getting it right.
Yeah, I do. You feel bad for someone who doesn't speak up about their name being pronounced so terribly wrong. Like that makes me feel bad for them. So I'm glad we've got that correct.
This perception, right, of French people being rude, and he's being just so incredibly polite that he can't even correct somebody saying his name wrong. So.
Going back to Jose, I mean, it took Walter a while to adapt and become the solid player that he is now. At least I think he's pretty solid. So, yeah, I think Jose's got the tools. It'll just be a matter of time. Hopefully, the sooner the better, because we're getting into the last 10, and it is stretch run time.
Chad, do you like Voltaire so far?
Yeah, I would agree with what Robert said there, in the sense that at first I was like, oh man, did we miss on this signing? Is Sporting kind of like have a fail here? And then it's like he got hurt, he was away for a while, and when he came back, it's like a different player. And I think it goes back to a lot of these guys, kind of like Peter's always talking about, they need time in the system. They need to go through all the preseason. They need to get those repetitions with their teammates so they're in the right spot. They're anticipating where they should be, moving properly. And I imagine Maury is going to be the same thing because, again, Peter does seem to be kind of hitting on these guys lately.
Mm-hmm.
But it also all begs the question, still, what the hell's the deal with Felipe Hernandez?
Yeah, we've been missing Felipe on this show. Have we brought you into this convo yet, Chad?
I miss him as well. I stand for Felipe, as the kids are saying. And it's sad. I asked Peter about it in last week's press conference, and he basically said no update, personal issues. And you don't want to pry, you don't want to be rude. So just kind of respect that privacy and hope that whatever's going on in his life will be okay soon and he can return to the team.
This episode is brought to you by Google Pixel, the official fan phone of the NBA and WNBA. The new Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro are built different. How? Take the Audio Magic Eraser tool that helps block out distracting crowd noise so your play-by-play commentary sounds crystal clear. The only phone engineered by Google brings out the audio you care about so your videos sound as crisp as they look. Learn more at googlestore.com/pixelnba. Audio Magic Eraser requires Google Photos app. May not work on all audio elements.
Wednesday's match against the Minnesota United FC.
Well, the good news there is that Emmanuel Reynoso won't be there because his playing time has been limited. At least if he's there, it'll be limited. So that's a good thing.
When you said the Minnesota United, it just kind of reminded me of a former writer on our site that would always refer to them as Southern Canada United. And I was like, just call them whatever you want, Cody. Embrace it.
The Minnesota United FC. Who will we have back there? I was trying to frantically look up here. We need a stats guy. We need to bring That's what we need to bring Greenwald on here to be our stats guy. What's the injury situation looking like? When are we going to get back Issy?
So I kind of obsess over the injury report, as you guys may notice on the constant articles about injury update.
That's why I'm asking you.
Issy, he's back. He's back. He was not on the report at all for the last game. So he is available to be chosen. And I don't know. Peter was talking about he just needs to work himself back to fitness because they're just trying to take it easy, not take any chances. Obviously, he's had two similar injuries this year. You don't want to lose the guy again with only 10 games to go.
Okay, so yeah, I remember them talking on the broadcast about him, and I was thinking he was available, but I thought he did have a designation still.
Are you
That's
surprised
another
that
one.
Peter didn't sub him into the game? I mean, Peter's famous for using all his subs.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anybody else concerned about Polito? He had a huge ice pack on his knee after the game, and he went down late in the game. Looked like he was bothered. And I think it's been a consistent thing, or a pestering knee that's been the last couple of weeks.
It seems like it. I'm nervous every time he goes down, every time he gets touched. It seems like there's an issue.
I'm always nervous. I feel the worst every time because it's like they're up 2-0. Why not sub him out of the game and then instead wait till he takes another knock and has to come out of the game? And he seems so fed up. He's like throwing his shin guards on the ground and everything, and maybe get him out of there a little earlier. I thought somebody in our comments speculated that maybe Mowry also took a knock, and that's why he came off early, and Shelton replaced him, which was weird. Why are you going with 4 forwards when you're winning by 2 goals instead of Shelton was maybe going to replace Polito? I liked that explanation, like he'd been up and warmed up, so they just stuck him into the game where they stuck him in, and Polito kind of dropped back into the midfield.
Yeah, he did.
To take more of a beating, I guess.
Yeah, that was the plan. Put Polito back there, take more of a beating. Yeah.
Well, nobody takes a beating like Shelton, and no one dishes it out like Shelton either. He can just absorb a tackle like it's nothing. It kind of reminds me of Yaya Toure. I don't know if you guys watched a lot of him. I was a Manchester City fan, and it would just you just watch this player. He'd be running. Somebody's coming in full steam. You think he's there. He's gonna get pushed off the ball, and then just kind of sticks out a leg, and then the guy's just repelled. And Kyrie just he absorbs tackles and just kind of bodies. It's just very impressive. He's impossible to shove off the ball.
Did you say you were a fan?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did you say you were a Manchester City fan? What?
Yes, I was and am. I'm just saying I was also back then, yeah. Because Yaya is no longer around. Right. Yeah. Yes, thank you for correcting that.
I like how we both heard it though too. We both had the same question.
Yeah, it must have sounded wrong. No, I had on a Man City jersey this weekend. Don't worry, guys.
Are you a Ted Lasso fan, Cody?
Yes, I am, and I guess we can't do any spoilers in that show, but
I haven't watched it yet, so let's not spoil it any further. I know it's my own fault, but I have like 400 streaming services, and Apple Plus isn't one of them. I'll get around to it.
Not even season 1.
I haven't watched any of it. We're gonna watch it. I've convinced my wife, and she's on board, and it's gonna be our next family show. I don't know if it's a good family show, but
Robert,
that's what we're gonna go with.
Current on it?
There's some cussing. What was that, Cody?
Are you current on that show?
Yes.
Where do you stand on the new season? I know there's been some debate.
It started slow like the first season did, and the end of the last game of the last episode of the first season, I was like, because some of the soccer they don't get right.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I mean, the characters and the storylines are just so strong, and so that carries it for me. The soccer, but second season has gotten better.
We could do an entire show on how bad soccer is done in all soccer shows and movies ever. It's just it seems to be a difficult thing to get to fake quickly in movies. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't do it terribly though. On the realm of some bad ones I've seen, it's not that terrible.
I actually watched a soccer show based on your recommendation, or should we say football, the English Game. You were talking about it on a podcast, and I was like, you know what, I got to check it out. And they're running these formations with like 8 forwards. I was like, is this what football used to be? And I had no idea. I was like, is this made up?
They're like locking arms almost and running straight down the field. Like that's yeah. Yeah, that's a good show. Have you done that one, Robert?
No, I have not. I'll check it out though.
It is definitely not like the soccer part of it is not the focus of it. It is a very, period piece drama, but it's good. I enjoyed it.
I think the football soccer made me stick it out more than I maybe would have otherwise, because it was very, very English, very English.
Very English. My favorite thing about that show, called The English Game, the show about the English game is about an Irishman that comes there and teaches them all how to play.
It's true.
Tells them that none of them know what they're doing, and he teaches them all how to play. Any final takes here on Minnesota United, the Minnesota United versus Sporting KC?
I tell you, I looked at their form table here, and they've only won one of their last 5, so they're not doing particularly great. But they obviously had Sporting's number the last time, so
0-0 last time in August, right? Is that?
Yeah, they won every statistical category. Of course, that was the game with Remy Walters' red card at the 21st minute. So not surprising that it was not one of our strongest showings.
Voltaire.
Right. Yeah. But, like I said, Reynoso is injured. He's not playing. That definitely makes a difference for Minnesota. So that's a good thing on our side.
Okay, good. I was not aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better about it.
yeah. And I think if we go back to that game before the Voltaire red card, Minnesota wasn't playing that well, and Sporting looked like they kind of maybe had things going their way. So, yeah, I mean, 0-0 is never a bad result when you're down a man. So we could have gone for 0-0 against LAFC, right? Ugh.
With only 10 left, guys, we need every point we can get. If we want to catch Seattle, if that's the goal. I mean, to you guys, supporter shield's out the window, right? So it's winning the West is our priority.
Yes, because the East is bullshit.
They're so bad, nobody can catch New England or even slow them down a little bit. I mean, they beat New York City FC the other day, and they were supposed to be sneaking up on everybody.
Yes, win the West, get that home field advantage. That's the goal.
Okay.
Do we want Sporting to have home field advantage? Is this a controversial take to say they're not great at home? I mean, sure, they beat the lowly Chicago Fire at home, but
how dare you?
I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously, from a covering the game and fan perspective, you want home games, and statistically, you usually want home games. But
yeah,
gosh, wouldn't it be great to, I don't know, like going on the road in the playoffs does seem tougher, but the Sporting play better when they're not being bunkered against, and they're going to bunker if they're the home team. The other teams are going to bunker against them, I should say.
All right. Well, partially accurate information. So, question. Is it one game in the playoffs, or is it a home and away?
I believe it's still one and done. So
that's what I thought,
you would think in that situation you'd want the home field advantage, but anything can happen in one game.
Yep.
Well, Chad, I was about to thank you for coming on and invite you back again, but then you finished off the show with the take about not having home field advantage. I don't know what I can do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
I mean, I definitely want them to win their games and have home field advantage. I just, I was trying to do the say something prophetic. Maybe it'd be better to be on the road.
It's a valid point. It is.
Thanks for coming on, and we're gonna try to have guests. We're setting dates now, planning in advance. Yeah, I definitely hope to have you back, man. It won't be years in between like last time.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chad.
Hold on, man.
Don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.